Dr. Ron, welcome to At Home.
Well, thank you. Thanks for having me.
Well, it's great to have you here and just in the nick of time because there's snow outside and
Cold out there.
It's bloody cold out there, exactly. And what happens when we see snow and cold weather? We get out there and we shovel, and that can lead to back pain.
Oh boy, can it ever.
It's a common thing, is it, for folks to have back pain after shoveling? Or is it just an excuse? Oh, I can't shovel the snow, you better, because my back hurts.
Well, first of all, 4 to 5 Canadians are going to experience back pain at some point in their life between the ages of 30 to 50, and that number goes up like crazy when it comes to the snowfall because of snow shoveling. So you're absolutely right.
So just about all of us then will at some point in time suffer from some type of back pain.
Well, for one reason or another, and of course the winter just increases that probability for most of us.
Is it because of its muscles that we don't normally use, or the way that shovels are designed, or why is it so painful?
I think you actually hit the nail on the head. Most people are not conditioned for the kind of work that you do when you shovel snow. It's when you think about it, it's pretty intense, right? If you've got a single laneway and you're shoveling the snow, imagine all the snow and the weight of all that snow that you're all of a sudden shoveling. And most of us are not used to exercising that much, so they're using muscles that they're not used to. And many people are lifting and they're throwing the snow and twisting in ways that can affect the spine and injure it as well. So there's a bunch of different things that come together.
What do we do to avoid that back pain or the chance of an injury?
Get someone else to shovel the snow for you.
I love that answer. See, that's why we have so much fun at this show, because it not only has great advice, but it also gives you a giggle. But that is brilliant advice. So
well, no, but I would tell you something. If it were possible, everyone should get a snow removal service. But now we're talking about people that clear the snow themselves. There's a number of things they can do. First of all, the most important thing you can do is get the right kind of shovel. And many of us have old-time shovels where you've got like a big, long wooden shaft, metal handle, and the metal scooper, and they weigh a ton. So the first thing I recommend is get one of the new ergonomic shovels. You can find them at most of your hardware stores. They have like a little jig in it. You know what I'm talking about? Like a little...
Oh, yeah, it has a bend in it. Almost looks like who stepped on the shovel.
And they also, many of them now have lightweight handles that will last for a while. And if you can get a good one, you can get a shovel that in and of itself, the scooper, is made of a heavy-duty resin, so it's not going to break. So first of all, you're going to be able to shovel easier because of the fact that it's ergonomic and it's got the bend in it, and it's lighter. It's lighter to use.
And maybe it's also not to try to do the entire driveway in one session.
Oh, my gosh. That's another important tip. So we've covered off the right kind of tool, and you want to take your time. And another thing related to just what you're saying is you don't want to let the snow pile up. So don't wait till the entire snow has fallen. You can start scooping up the snow as it happens. And another important thing, if I can add to it, is it's actually way better to push the snow than to throw the snow. And that kind of makes sense, right? Because when you're pushing, it takes less effort. When you're throwing it, you have to lift it up. And most people are bending and twisting. So if you really have to throw the snow, then when you lift it up, you want to pivot rather than twist. And keep your knees bent and try and keep your back straight and so on and so forth, and keep the shovel nice and close to you at all times. Those things are absolutely key.
Before we go out to shovel the snow, would we kind of think about stretching or limbering up just as we would before we did any other physical sport or activity?
Perhaps even more so because of the fact that this is so intense. And most people are just not prepared for this. So you can do some gentle stretching of your back and your hips. You can do knee-chest stretches. And these are the kinds of things you can do at home. You don't have to go to anywhere special for this. You grab your knees, you pull them to your chest, you stand up, and you just do a very gentle twist from side to side. And if you have a broomstick, you can grab the broomstick with both your hands, bring them over your head, and do some gentle flexion and extension and twisting. Simple things that'll just gently stretch your back before you go out there.
I imagine it's important to do that because it's so cold, too. I mean, I'm thinking of all of us who love hot yoga this time of the year. It's so nice when you're in hot climates to actually be able to be limber, but out in the freezing cold when your hands are freezing and your back's cold, I can imagine, muscle pain could come faster.
You're right. Warmer muscles make your muscles a little bit more elastic, and then they are performing better, and they're less likely to strain, and that's what we're trying to do. We're trying to prevent injuring your spine. So at Back Clinics of Canada, the kinds of problems that we're treating are really the end stages of these kinds of problems. These are people who have small problems, but they end up being huge problems. And I would say over 90% of the problems that we treat are, starting in these simple kind of things, but ending up as damaged discs, and they can be unbelievably painful. And we want to prevent people from getting to that end stage.
Dr. Ron, I was going to say, obviously I think some pain will be inevitable anyways when we're shoveling. What can we do if we do have some pain? What's the best remedy? Is it a hot bath with Epsom? Is it some sort of essential oil? What do you recommend?
So there's a few things you can do. You could do this interview on your own. You're doing great so far. It would be a great thing if you can get into a hot bath with some Epsom salts. After you do that, an ideal thing would be to get off of your feet, get on your back, prop up your knees with a couple of pillows, and then if you can ice your back on and off, say 15 minutes on, 15 minutes off, and do that probably for an hour or two, that'll likely help you. And of course, it doesn't always work, and if that's the case, you really have to go see a back specialist right away. Do not wait.
So that's key. If you do injure yourself, get in to see your favorite back doctor.
Yeah, I don't think anyone will ever be sorry that they get their back checked out, because when back problems evolve to be more serious and they can create problems called sciatica. You've heard of sciatica? Oh,
I'm fully aware of sciatica.
Yeah.
When I was pregnant, that was a huge problem for me.
It's a horrible pain down your leg. And this can be caused, again, by bulging or herniated discs. And again, that's the more serious kind of a problem that we end up treating, fortunately, very successfully. But why would a person want to wait? And I would tell you, if I had to think of the phrase I hear most often in my office, you know what it is?
No.
I wished I thought it was going to go away.
Oh,
right?
Yeah.
Yeah, and then they wait, and because people want to tough it out, and they think it's going to be fine, and they'll try some pain relievers and analgesics, and before you know it, if it does become very serious and they go to their family doctors, they can be even put on narcotics, which have an addictive quality to it. And we really want to avoid people going down that direction if they can. And there are so many great treatment options, fortunately, that can help solve these problems without drugs or surgery.
Dr. Ron, do you find that in the winter there's a lot more fall-related back injuries? Because it's icy outside, and you slip and you twist, you try to catch yourself, and that happens a lot in addition to the snow shoveling?
Well, you're quite right. There's more slip and falls that will happen during the winter for that very reason. But it's very interesting. I'm asked all the time, what time of year are there more back pains? And we find actually that there are events that take place throughout the year that are higher risk. There's gardening that takes place in the spring and the summer, and people are more into sports during the summer, and they can have all sorts of injuries as well. But slip and falls can be very, very serious, causing back and neck problems.
Dr. Ron, thank you so much for all your advice. I know people will want to get in touch with you. What's the best website?
Well, they can get in touch with us by going to backclinicsofcanada.ca. And by the way, we have a ton of tips on how to shovel correctly, and there's a downloadable form and a brochure so they can learn some quick techniques. And they can even call us anywhere across the country at 1-877-PAIN-FREE.
That's great. As I was thinking, I'm going to call you and get you to demonstrate for me how to shovel my driveway.
Anytime. We'll do it by Skype. How's that?
Oh, no, I'd much rather have you here shoveling. Show that to me one more time.
Absolutely.
Just a little bit more. I haven't got it yet.
Pleasure speaking to both of you. Thank you so much.
All right. Thank you. Don't go anywhere, Sam, and I'll be right back here at home.